episode 23 of Bum Talk 23, like Michael Jordan, the GOAT. I am your charismatic host, Che Bums, along with my co-host,
Danny Bums.
And happy Easter to all of you out there who believe in the bunny. But yeah, episode 23, like the GOAT, Michael Jordan, and LeBron James and other players. But anyway, happy Easter, Danny Bums, to you.
Happy Easter.
Likewise. So Danny Bums, it was a contested combat sport weekend. A lot of boxing too.
Yeah, it was fun.
It was cool. UFC fight earlier yesterday in Khabib land.
Yeah, in St. Petersburg,
That's
Russia.
right. Yeah, because the first one was last year, right? I think in Moscow, was it?
Yeah, something like that.
September, I think it was. Yeah, we had that. We had two big boxing fights. One on broadcast television on Fox TV, and the other one was ESPN's debut on pay-per-view, I believe, with Khan versus Crawford. So, Danny Bums, you are the boxing guru. You are the local Max Kellerman here. So, I'll give you the balls in your court. Where do you want to start off, Danny Bums?
Let's start off with, I want to mix it up a little bit.
Okay.
Let's start up with,
Fair game.
1 sec.
What else? Yes, we had those two big fights on boxing. We had the UFC back in Russia. Besides that, it was a busy Saturday. No fights on Friday. No fights tonight. Obviously, it's Easter. But yeah, there's a big Saturday, big Passover Easter weekend for combat sports. Let me see what else.
Whatever. So we start off with the PBC card.
On Fox.
Yeah, we had the return of Danny Garcia since his loss to WBC champion Sean Porter back in September.
Sean Showtime Porter.
Yeah, he fought against he's more of a journeyman.
Okay.
Adrian Granados.
The veteran.
I feel like I don't know, veteran, but he's fought people. He's one of the hardest fights in the welterweight division. He's considered like a gatekeeper, but he's just really tough. He never stops coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And he's never been dropped. He's never been knocked out.
Knocked out, yeah.
He actually gave Adrian Broner a very tough fight. He gave Sean Porter a very tough fight. So
he's fought the top guys.
Yeah, I thought that this fight would be really good. I thought Danny would win, but I thought it'd be really tough. It'd be a brawler fight, but I did not expect what happened.
You thought about good distance?
Yeah, or Adrian would be a lot tougher. I thought he had a bigger chin, but then Danny is known to be the puncher, one of the biggest punches at 147.
And you saw in the first round.
Yeah,
how
so
he was just teeing off.
That's basically this was the fight in Carson, California.
Yeah, so like Danny Bums mentioned, it's his first fight since September, right?
Yeah.
Or when did he fight Brandon Rios? No, I think Brandon Rios was the last fight, right?
No. He fought in February of last year.
He fought Keith Thurman, then he took almost a year off, and then he fought Brandon Rios. There you go. I was confused.
And he knocked him out.
Yeah.
And then he fought for the title.
Back in September?
Yeah, the vacant title.
So like Danny Bums mentioned, he I want to say he put on a clinic last night.
It was insane.
Dominated. He dropped him twice, I believe, in the
first
round. 2-3 rounds. Yeah, it was a clinic to say. I want to say Granados was a punchy bag. He was fighting back, but DSG just showed that he's one of the top fighters at welterweight.
Yeah.
And I know last night I think Lennox Lewis and Kenny Albert were saying that he's 2-2 in the last 4 fights, but we talked about it last night. Those 2 fights weren't lopsided decisions. They could have gone. No. They could have gone both ways.
Yeah, and then Danny's never been knocked down. That I know of, knocked down or knocked out. He's the 2 losses were very close fights.
And I recall because we saw his 2 losses.
Yeah.
So 2 years ago when he fought
Thurman,
one time Thurman, I thought he did lose that fight. I thought it was like 55-45. Now against Porter in September, I thought it could have gone both ways. But like you mentioned, both those fights were close. It wasn't like it was dominated. It didn't get knocked out. They went the distance. So he's still top contender. Those 2 losses are the 2 top guys, obviously. He beat Adrian Granados, who I believe has 6-7 losses now. And he knocked him out, I think, in the halfway sixth round.
Yeah, in the 6th round.
Yeah.
It was a TKO. The referee had to step in.
The referee just said, that's it. It's enough. But yeah, those 3 rounds, first 3-4 rounds, DSG was just coming off, just punching, just like if he really needed this victory, he wanted to show that he's still a top dog at 147. Obviously, he's a champion before at 147, 140. So he had the belt, right? What's it called, the silver belt?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like
I don't know anything about that.
I think last time I told you it's like a participation trophy, more or less. But it is a nice belt, right, by the way.
There's all these sub champions with boxing. It's so annoying.
It's just like like to have a title on or something. But yeah, DSG is so relevant, obviously.
Very relevant.
Obviously.
And PBC is where you want to be when you're a welterweight.
Welterweight, yep, absolutely correct.
Not only do they have Manny Pacquiao, who has a sub belt, but they also have 3 of the 4 major world titles.
Yes. And like always with any big victory in the main event, the question always asked by the commentator is who you want next. So, Danny Bums, I'll ask you 2 questions. Who you think DSG fight next, and who do you want DSG to fight next?
I want him to fight Yordanis Ugas.
The guy just fought Sean Porter, right? Back last month, which also could have gone both ways.
Yeah, because from what I understand, according to Mike Coppinger, there's a plan in place.
Okay.
For Thurman, apparently.
Thurman Pacquiao?
Well, Pacquiao, he's the one that chooses.
Yeah.
That'd be a good fight, but I think the plan is Thurman Pacquiao in July for a major pay-per-view.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And then for September, Spence and Porter.
Okay, Spence and Porter. So that unify, but it'll make things more easier, I guess. Yeah. It makes the picture more clear.
Or another good one is someone who's not coming off a loss like Ugas. Maybe Sergey Lipinets.
The guy beat the retired Lamont Peterson, right? A few months ago.
Lamont Peterson. Yeah. And like probably contender for Fight of the Year.
Okay. All right.
He's also in the mix. I'm telling you,
147. Yeah,
PBC, man.
It's popping.
You don't want to be anywhere else.
So
PBC has 147 and 154 down.
Yeah.
Because they have 3 of the 4 titles
in both divisions, right?
In both divisions.
Yeah. All right. So obviously, Thurman Pacquiao will be pay-per-view draw. That's obvious.
Yeah, they can probably do 600,000 buys.
Porter versus Spence. I think it'll be pay-per-view too.
Maybe because Spence is big.
Yeah.
I would love to see Spence kick Porter.
I don't think it'll be Fox. I think, especially since Spence's last fight was a pay-per-view.
Yeah, so I don't know. I don't know where it'll be.
Maybe Fox pay-per-view, another one.
Maybe.
Or just a Showtime fight, but we'll see what happens with that. But the card was interesting because it was a main card. There was 3 fights. I didn't recognize the first fight or the second fight. A bunch of heavyweights that I never heard of. Arena was kind of empty. I don't know if you caught a couple angles. You saw empty seats up there. For it's soccer field. I think that's where the Galaxy play, I believe.
Maybe.
But yeah, it wasn't a big card. It was just on broadcast television on Fox 5, so it's a free
fight. Yeah, it was fun to see them. I'm a big fan of DSG. Always have been. Great to see him get that win.
First time I saw DSG, he was co-main eventing Maidana versus Mayweather.
Canelo Mayweather.
Canelo Mayweather. So that was September.
That's the first time I ever heard of DSG.
September 2013. So you're looking
against who?
Welterweight, right?
He's retired.
He beat him up. I know he beat him up.
He retired recently. Manny Pacquiao beat him recently.
Manny Pacquiao beat him recently. It wasn't Broner, obviously. He
right
retired.
Before that.
Right before that? Not Jeff Horn. Who did Pacquiao
right after that.
Timothy Bradley?
No.
Who?
Lucas Matisse.
I was gonna think about that. I was gonna say the Argentinian guy. Yeah. I was gonna say Argentinian guy. I wasn't sure. Yeah, I think he retired in December or like late last year. Okay.
That's when Manny took his sub belt.
All right. Okay. So yeah, I mean that fight was just that wasn't really too big. But like I said, it's a big one for DSG. He needed it more than Adrian Granados.
Yeah.
Well, okay. So now
I also kind of expected that when I saw the matchup. I'm like,
I think everyone knew.
It was announced back in November.
Okay, so
because that's when PBC had their big ass press conference. They announced
for the
fights from
January
December to April.
Okay, all right.
Because the Charlos fought started off
in December, in Brooklyn. Okay, so we talked about the A side about DSG. Who's next? What's next for Adrian Granados? And he's still relatively young too. He's not like he's like
A great matchup would have been Lamont Peterson, but he's retired.
Yes, how do you not retire? Okay, because Lamont's so
maybe I don't know. Maybe they'll do a Ugas. I don't know.
All right, because Ugas been kind of quiet since that since the fight against Showtime.
Yeah, because he gained a lot of stock.
Yeah, a lot of fans, a lot of stock.
A lot of very close decision. I don't know. I would have been fine. I would have been fine with a draw.
For the yeah.
I'd have been very content with a draw.
Yeah, it was a good fight. One of the good boxing fights I've seen earlier this year, of 2019. But yeah, anything else about DSG and Adrian Granados that stood out for you?
Danny, man, he looked.
Yeah, he
he's one of the bigger punchers of the.
The first round, he put up a pure clinic. How he's just like moving his head and just punching him.
That's always been his biggest asset, this punch, because if you go back to 2012 when he fought Amir Khan at 140 pounds, granted.
When he was champion too.
Yeah, Amir Khan was champion, and he was whooping Danny's ass because Amir Khan's a really good boxer. And then Danny caught him, and that was it. That's all she wrote. And then I think you said it last night. Yeah, and actually, no, it's Amir Khan, so we'll talk about that later in the episode. But yeah, congrats to DSG. Like I said, he needed a victory. He's a very popular guy, obviously. Like I said, at least for me, in terms of boxing, he's like one of the most oldest boxers that I know in my short career of watching boxing, more or less. Besides Canelo and Mayweather. I think he's like
Mayweather Promotions,
co-promoted with Mayweather.
Yeah, because I think he mentioned in the post-fight interview, thank you to to.
They're always promoting him, and I don't know. It's really weird. Not an official announcement, but.
And then you saw Leonard there come in, so you figured.
You saw him in the ring with him.
Yeah.
You know what the fucked up thing is?
What's up?
Javion Love, one of their fighters, he fought David Benavidez on the co-main event of the Spence Garcia.
Okay, last month.
Spence Garcia, David Benavidez, he was the WBC super middleweight champ, but he got caught for cocaine, so he had to relinquish it. And then Anthony Durrell won it like a month before.
So they gave it to him?
So Anthony Durrell's champ, but he's like, whatever.
Also, he didn't fight for it, they just gave it to him?
Yeah, because he won it for a couple of weeks ago. He fought some guy, he ended like in the fourth round, I don't know, whatever.
Okay. So it worked out for him.
Javion Love was fighting David Benavidez. David Benavidez is a freaking killer.
Okay.
Right? He's never lost. He normally lost his title because of drugs. He's young too, and like Mayweather and Leonard, they weren't in the ring because I feel like they knew he was gonna get killed, and obviously what happened? Javion Levine got killed. So it's weird. Okay. It's not like Eddie. Eddie's with his guys.
Yeah,
always. That's great.
I mean, that's what promoters are,
Yeah. But yeah, DSG. When it comes to PBC, I give them that, man. They have 147, 154 down. And 147 right now is crazy.
The Mayweather division.
It's almost as hot as the Mayweather. I think right now, boxing is crazy right now. It's so annoying though.
Yeah, too many.
Yeah, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah, like I said, he needed the victory, obviously, coming off a title fight a few months ago. Like I said, he dominated. So, good for him. Like I said, he needed his victory. So, I think he picked the right opponent. It was the right game for him. Picked the right opponent. He goes, okay, I think he picked the beatable opponent, which is smart too. You don't want to take a risk with someone else. So, congrats for DSG. He's still, even though he has 2 losses, like I said, they're both razor thin. He didn't get knocked out or anything. So, he's still relevant. I'm sure one time Thurman doesn't think that, nor Sean Porter. But he's still relevant. He can still fight. If he strings up another couple victories, possible title fight maybe next year or in 2 years. Yeah. Because he's still young. He's 31 years old, so he's still in his prime. They're all in the prime. Spence, Thurman, DSG, they're all in the primes. I believe Spence is the youngest one though, but they're still relatively young.
Thurman's in his prime. I think he's
he's a little older.
Prime.
He's a little older. He's
towards the end of his prime, I think.
He's a little older.
That's why the fight with him and Pacquiao makes sense.
Yeah. So, like I said, he's a couple of victories away from maybe on a title shot.
Spence and Thurman, that's not. Yeah.
Oh, but we'll see. Like I said, the plan is, and boxing is always planned, so we'll see what happens in July if Thurman fights Pacquiao.
And Spence fights Porter.
In September.
Just tell you something. Porter has 2 losses.
One to Thurman.
He lost his first time he ever lost was Kell Brook in 2014 when he was IBF champion.
And then he lost to... And
then eventually, as you know, he lost to Thurman. But hold on. He lost to Kell Brook at 47, right? Okay. And then Kell Brook was IBF world champion for like 3 years. Who did Kell Brook lose that belt to?
Errol Spence.
Exactly. Yeah. So just remember that.
So it's all like a... I don't know.
Spence knocked out the guy that beat... What's his face?
Porter.
So I can't wait to see that match.
Did Porter and Kell Brook, you recall, they went the distance? Do you recall?
I think Kell Brook might have. I'm not sure.
Okay. All right.
I'm not sure.
It's all like a diagram, I guess. I don't want to say a full circle. It's kind of like a little
now
tree.
He's at 54.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens.
Just before I move on, I just want to remind you guys the 4 belts at 147. We have Keith Thurman, WBA. Manny Pacquiao has a sub version of that. IBF is Errol Spence. WBC is Sean Porter. And WBO is Terence Crawford.
Yep. We'll talk about later tonight about T. Crawford versus Amir Khan.
Right now we're going to go to Russia.
We're going to go to Russia. St. Petersburg, Russia last night. For UFC Fight Night, I believe it was 149, I think it was, or 146. Where Alistair Overeem was the main event. He fought. Well, before we start that.
Well, we're talking about the card, right?
All right, yeah.
Roxanne Modafferi, the Super Saiyan.
The Super Saiyan?
Oh, yeah, her. She won. She
was on the card?
Yeah, she won.
Was she main event? Main card or prelim?
I think she was main card.
Because I saw the card. I didn't recognize a lot of fighters. I don't recognize a lot of these fighters. And UFC, I mean.
And she jokingly called out Cyborg, and then Cyborg responded, but it was all fair, fun play.
Cyborg's been quiet since December, I think, right?
I think they're going to give her one fight, and then at 145, I imagine she'll win. And then this girl, whatever, doesn't matter what happened with Holm, and then they'll run it back in December for part 2.
Okay,
for the 45 title. That makes perfect sense.
Yeah, give a Cyborg, a game opponent, I guess.
Yeah,
whoever it is. I know she fought last night. This girl. What's her name?
Roxanne Modafferi.
Yeah, Roxanne Modafferi.
She was runner-up for the Ultimate Fighter that one season with Edward and Justin Gaethje.
Oh, it's December 17th. Wow, it's almost 2 years. Yeah. So UFC is back in Russia, at St. Petersburg, with the veteran Alistair Overeem versus, I'm probably saying this guy's.
And in the co-main event, we had Islam fight.
Islam fight?
Yeah, he fought. He won.
Who's that? I don't know who that is.
Islam Makhachev, whatever.
I don't know.
One of the Habib guys.
Yeah, I'm sure he's a Habib.
He's the guy that they try to match up with Kevin Lee.
Oh, that's him.
Yeah, he's 155 pounds. He's one of the guys that decked Conor in the face.
Oh, okay. And who did he fight? You know who he fought?
I don't know, but he won, and now what the plan is for him to fight someone top 15.
Okay, so he made a name for himself. Obviously, he fought at home, so that's good. Obviously, Habib was there too. The home of Russia, Dagestan.
Yeah.
But
it was cool. Yeah, it was finally great to see him as an interview.
Okay. I mean,
yeah.
Yeah, this fight night was I don't want to say this trend, but like it's been kind of top heavy recently. These UFC fight cards. It's a little top heavy. Actually, literally a heavyweight main event. With two guys combined age of 41 plus 38 is like 80 years old. These guys have combined 131 fights, professional fights together.
Yeah, number 6 versus number 9.
I believe 7.
7.
Yeah, 7 versus 9, yeah. Aleksei Oleinik.
Yeah.
Which by
against a Russian.
Yeah, the Russian. Which just give you some back information. About 2-3 weeks ago, his Overeem's opponent, Volkov, Alexander Volkov, also Russian, pulled out for the fight out of some kind of injury, I think. So this Russian stepped in, who has like 57 wins.
Yeah, and it was they're very cordial. They known each other.
He said in the interview that they're friends. I guess they spar or something.
Yeah, so yeah, the fight it went one round.
We caught it today, so
yeah. Alistair he showed his veteran skills. He won. He got away with that. He's definitely someone that's made his mistakes in his fight game. Sometimes but he's a very very pretty well rounded fighter.
He is.
And he got the knockout in the first round.
And you saw, cause we saw a fight today. He got caught early with that overhook right there.
Saw that, yeah.
It didn't look as strong, but Overeem's always kind of weak chin. It was funny. It wasn't a back. It didn't go back and forth. It's like they both had their moments. At first, Oleinik had his moments, and then towards the end of the first,
they're definitely a little bit back and forth. It was a fun round.
And then with the knees, he was doing so many knees. Overeem just going back and forth. And the last knee caught him. He fell, and then those I guess hammer fists you want to call them, or side punches, he just laid him out. And to me, it looked like he verbally said he quit. I'm not sure. It looked like he verbally quit. But Overeem got another win. He has like 45 MMA wins. Still fighting. I'm almost at 40 years old.
Yeah, crazy.
He mentioned that he's fought in Russia 3 times or something like that. He wants to fight there again. And he wants to fight Volkov this time.
Yeah, he said he definitely wants. He says, I like that he wasn't annoying about it. Everyone who ever wins a freaking fight in any friggin' sport, when they win, they want to friggin' call the champion. I like that he said, nah, chill on that. I want to fight that guy.
I think, like you said, Overeem.
And that division is a mess right now. I have no idea what's going on.
It definitely is. But, Overeem always has made, he's made mistakes in the past, but he's kind of like that classy veteran. He's not really a trash talker. You've heard him talk before. He's very, like, quiet, professional, courteous. So he's not going to trash talk anybody. But I'm sure he would like to fight Ngannou again or Justin Willis, guys that knocked him. I mean, Curtis Blades, guys that knocked him out.
Yeah.
Or even Stipe, I guess.
Yeah. He's had the past couple years. He's had a back and forth run, so
yeah. So
I wouldn't rush to give that guy a title shot.
He's still a game opponent. He's a top 10 guy.
Legendary fighter.
Yeah, and he's still good, and he's big in the European scene, obviously. So he's from Netherlands. So I'm sure UFC will put him a lot on these European cards. So he's still big. He's former Strikeforce champion, K1 champion when they were around. So he's still a big name opponent. Like I said, He's made mistakes in the past, obviously, with doping and all that stuff. But
so yeah,
like I said, the card wasn't that interesting. It was kind of literally top heavy. Two big guys. I don't know. Did you see Oleinik's haircut? That weird, like
yeah, it was weird. I don't know. It's a Russian thing.
Yeah, it probably is. But yeah, I mean that was it. I mean, card. I wasn't really impressed with the card. I go, whatever. It's like a European card, yeah. Next week, I believe it's another ESPN Plus card. It's who pulled out? Romero pulled out, right? Yeah, Jacare's fighting.
No, right?
I always get confused who pulled out. One of them pulled out. And
where is that, in America?
Yeah, in Florida.
Mm.
Actually, I want to check now. I think it's Romero who pulled out. If I'm mistaken.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, Jacare's fighting.
And he's fighting someone that I've never even heard of. Let me just double check here.
Yeah, same.
Any thoughts? Any other thoughts, any bums about the fight?
No, I'm glad that, I'm glad he didn't call out the champ, and I like that he's realistic about it.
So this card next week, and we'll go over it later. It's okay. It's not that bad. Yeah, Jacare versus some guy I never heard of, Jack Hermanson. Greg Hardy again is a co-main event. I'm sure. I wonder how people feel about that one.
Next week. That's crazy.
Mike Plant Perry's in the card too. He's a big name. And then you have Glover Teixeira and John Lineker. So it's go. It's not a bad card. They're fighting, I believe, in let me look it up. They're fighting Florida, in Sunrise, Florida. So it's a decent card. But yeah. Anything else about? Yeah.
That's it.
Hey, Ariel Helwani said on Twitter, no major MMA fight tonight.
It was a Risen fight.
Oh, there was. Yeah. Oh.
But yeah, so then we go over to the big fight of the weekend in MSG. We had the big Crawford versus Khan fight.
T-Bud versus Amir King. Is it King Khan?
Amir King Khan.
Okay.
It's basically, how do I say this? It's true. Leonard Ellerby says they can't find a big fight for Crawford. Well, because everyone else is in PBC.
Absolutely correct.
And even contenders are in PBC. Like Lipinets, Garcia, Ordonis Ugas. So
there's no one from at top rank, basically.
Yeah, so that's why they rushed to get like Amir. And remember when I told you if it wasn't going to be Amir, it was going to be Josecito Lopez, who's a freaking journeyman.
Yeah, and he fought in the St. Paddy's Day, right?
Yeah,
St. Paddy's.
It was a disgusting fight, but he got the win.
It was sloppy.
Yeah, very sloppy. So I literally imagine that's going to be his fight in the fall.
You mentioned that, yeah. Do you think not getting too ahead of himself?
Especially like with hearing Leonard Ellerby's media scrum this week, like they have no plans. Like PBC has their own welterweight plans, and it just doesn't. We'll go ahead.
So without thinking too ahead of the future, do you think possibly Shakur Stevenson might get a fight eventually with T-Bud?
That would never happen.
Okay, all right. So you mentioned probably the veteran.
He fights at 135.
Oh, okay. I thought he was a bigger weight class. So the possibility is this guy Josecito Lopez.
Yeah, I mean I don't know, because he also fought on Top Rank. I don't know, unless they somehow convince Lipinets to come over or.
Do you know any other welterweights on Top Rank besides the ones you mentioned, off the top of your head?
No, and no, I don't. Just Crawford, and I don't know, maybe Jeff Horn. I don't know.
Where's Chris Algieri? He's on zone.
Yeah, but he fights at 140.
Okay.
That's another one that he'd go over.
That he'll go over?
They'd probably do that.
Oh, like a co-promotion thing?
Yeah. Well, the thing is, when it's a case like that, a fighter will usually the fighter tells the promoter where they want. Like for example, if Top Rank came to, well, I don't even know if he's with the Zone. Actually, no, he
commented to Top Rank.
He commented to Top Rank. I don't know, but like that they could probably make that wouldn't be
I will feel like
that'd be realistic. Obviously, he needs more fights under his belt because he took like a 3-year
sabbatical, basically,
and he just fought like recently, like in January.
Well, not to get out of topic, I would feel like match ready Herm. I feel like he's more open to this kind of stuff as opposed to other people. He's more open to obviously you saw last week with his guy Criolla, he was able to know. So I think he's more open to these kind of discussions of cross promotion or cross broadcast rights, whatever you want to call it.
And he wasn't a fan of this fight with because he wanted
Khan versus Kell Brook.
Yeah,
since last summer you talk about this.
No, since years. That's been the fight the British public deserved.
The British boxing.
That they deserved that fight, and then we thought we almost saw it when this guy signed with the Eddie. We're like, okay, boom, because Kell's been with Match Room
since inception, right?
Yeah,
almost basically.
So I'm like, everyone got all excited, and then Amir signed a 3-fight deal. He fought Phil Logrenko, and he fought Sammy Vargas. So he had one more fight, and then he said, and these guys had no one to fight Crawford until they were going to fight Josecito Lopez. And then this guy obviously came.
So he still has one fight left in his contract.
No, that was his 3rd fight.
Okay. So
but I also think because Eddie wasn't there because he had a big fight in the UK.
I would think.
And he didn't want this fight for Khan, so he said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, I would think just because Amir Khan's at the stage of his career he is now, he's getting a little older.
Yeah.
He's from UK. I would think he'll resign at Matchroom just because his name is still big in the UK. So I'm sure Eddie will look out for him. I can still get you big fights in the UK, perhaps not in the US, but. He's still a big name out there, and like I said, maybe eventually that dream fight between Kell Brook versus Amir Khan.
I think after last night's performance, I don't want to see that fight.
But anyway,
Kell Brook is still in his prime-ish. I don't think Amir Khan is not. But before we get to that, I want to go over a couple things. Shakur Stevenson was Newark's very own.
He was in the co-main event, right? I thought he was.
He was in the co-main event.
Newark's
very own. He fought a former... Christopher Diaz, a former title challenger at 135 pounds.
Is this super lightweight? I'm getting confused.
Super lightweight, yeah.
Okay, yeah, because lightweight is 130. Okay.
Yeah, I believe.
So this is the Loma division, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Loma division, and we'll get to that in a second.
Okay.
So we went to 10-round war. With Christopher Diaz, I was arguably Shakur's hardest fight. He got the win, but it was a battle, and everyone needs those type of fights
to make. Yeah.
So I'm glad for Shakur. He's on the Top Rank, but he's managed by Andre Ward.
Okay.
And he's also, I think, in the same boxing stable with Terence Crawford.
Okay, I got you.
So they're like all one big one family. And that's great people to be working with Crawford and
respectable names, Ward. Honorable man, you know. And he's obviously undefeated, but he's still undefeated. I think he's like 12-0, 13-0, I heard. Something like that. Like Loma, they're both about the same record, more or less, but obviously Loma's a little older. You mentioned a couple of times, I know I've heard you say a couple of times that, eventually if Shakur Stevenson gets more fights or big names, eventually perhaps you can get a Lomachenko versus Stevenson fight.
I'll tell you who definitely get the fight first. That'll be the co-main event, Teofimo Lopez. He's becoming a phenom at 135 pounds.
So another super lightweight.
He's stopping everyone. He's just the real deal. He's flashy. He's called out Lomachenko various times.
Undefeated?
Undefeated. He's like 21 years old. He's like 13-0. He's from Brooklyn.
He's a Honduran guy. You told me yesterday. Hondureño.
Kid's crazy. He's a bit of a heel.
Okay.
He was at the Loma fight, and they asked him, did he watch the fight? He goes like, no, I was on my phone the whole time.
That's a very heel response. That's a very heel response.
And I think the matchup, he had a great fight. Obviously, of course, as expected, Teofimo knocked out whoever the hell he was fighting. And I think the plan is for him to fight Richard Comey next. I'll tell you who Richard Comey is.
Mm-hmm.
Richard Comey is the IBF champion at 135 pounds. The other three are Loma has 2 belts. Mikey has the 4th
belt.
So Teofimo will get a belt probably in July should he beat Richard Comey. And then that will set up a fight with Loma.
Between, the winner of that. Okay. That makes sense.
That makes perfect sense. Because Loma can't fight Mikey. No way that's happening anytime soon because of PBC. And in the main event, we had Crawford fighting his biggest name ever. Not his biggest challenge, his biggest name.
For Amir King Khan, former champion.
Former two-time champion at 130 pounds, 140 pounds. He's a silver medalist, silver medalist, Olympic medalist at 2004 games. To be quite honest with you, the last time I saw the real Amir Khan was May 2015.
Yeah.
When he was on this tear. Before that he destroyed Devin Alexander. He was calling Mayweather out. He was projected to be the next opponent for Mayweather. He was really that's when he destroyed Chris Algieri.
Yeah, he fell on the floor. Remember that? Just chopped him.
Yeah, he looked. 2015, Amir Khan was
top of his game.
The top of he's ever been. Then he takes not only a whole year off, but he decides to go up 2 weight divisions to fight Canelo Alvarez. Granted, he still looked good then.
Yeah,
he was winning most of the rounds. One
became glass jaw.
Yeah. Then we didn't hear about him for almost 2 years. He fought Phil Greco, and he freaking destroyed him in like 10 seconds. Then he fights Sammy Vargas, and everyone was like, huh?
He struggled, right?
Yeah, he got dropped by Sammy Vargas. Mind you, just the guy that Danny Garcia killed.
A veteran boxer, too.
Yeah. So I expected, because of that, it's safe to say, and because, he's taking a lot of time off.
Yeah.
He has other ventures.
UFC training.
Yeah, that. And he has like a Palestinian MMA league or whatever.
Oh, okay. I know that.
But, yeah, because of that, I expected him. A lot of people were writing him off, saying
I was too.
He's not gonna. The Khan is. One thing that gave me, one thing that gave like British people hope was he has insane hand speed.
Yeah.
Probably the fastest I've ever seen in boxing. But what did you think of the fight?
Well, yeah, as Danny mentioned, I spoke to my coworkers this week. I honestly thought Amir Khan had I thought he had no chance. I didn't think it'll go a distance, and obviously it didn't. I believe it ended also halfway through the 6th round with a unintentional low blow. He was allowed to take 5 minutes, and then I believe Virgil Hunter came in, and according to Hunter, he says that Amir Khan said he can't go no more. So then Virgil Hunter, I guess, put in the white flag or spoke to the ref.
Yeah, it was weird, man.
Yeah, it wasn't like a heel low blow like in WWE when you just go under.
No,
like that.
it was the lowest low blow
I've
ever seen in boxing.
In boxing, not WWE.
Like I'm not gonna like argue and say, I'm not gonna say like, we don't know. Yeah, like I'm gonna even Terence know. He said, yeah, I was pretty low. But I thought, you know what I think he should have done? He should have taken if it was
5
that,
minutes.
Take the whole 5 minutes,
of course,
man.
That's what you get to 5 minutes.
Not just that, but you get to reevaluate yourself. You're losing, but like, take the 5 minutes.
You get to adjust.
Come on, that's a big fight, man.
I just think, and I heard Virgil Hunter speak last night, and I read stuff today in the morning. I just think he didn't want to see Amir get beat up.
Especially what happened in the first round.
He got dropped.
I thought, but the thing is, that didn't nothing happened for the next 5 rounds.
No,
except the freaking low blow.
Amir was able to hold his ground, but I think in Virgil's eyes, he goes, you know what? He's got beat up.
Yeah, he's gonna protect his fighter.
He's like, I'd rather protect him, or I'd rather call a fight now, and just in case it gets worse, in case he gets knocked out, or gets a shot to to the temple or to the chin. But yeah, I wasn't surprised. I knew Tebow was gonna win. Like you said, the last time you saw him was 3 years ago. It'll be 3 years ago in May when he fought Canelo. So I'm not surprised.
Yeah, it was crazy. Whatever. I don't know what. He did a interview with Michelle Joy Phelps. I need to see it because he talks about what he wants to do next and whether the Brook fight is gonna happen. I don't know what Eddie. Amir should do. I think he should freaking retire.
See, this is
you obviously can't hang with the big guys.
Yeah, he's proved there. He proved it 3 years ago, and he's still proving now.
Like with the big. Well, then again, this is probably the biggest guy in the division. Granted.
Yeah, at 147.
So.
Well, like after any boxer interview after a fight, he mentions he's gonna take some time off, family stuff, all that same spiel. I'm actually not a fan of people being interviewed after a fight, especially. He was a little blow, but being knocked out, Joe Rogan said it multiple times. I'm just not a fan of asking right away questions to the loser, especially if it's like a hard hit or something. But like I said, I'm sure he's gonna take some time off, and kind of reevaluate.
Knowing Amir Khan, hell yeah.
And like I said, to me, I think he's in good hands with Eddie Hearn. So I'm sure Eddie would try to court him. Hey, you know what, man?
Or that's even if he'll resign with Eddie.
Nah, that's true.
Eddie wasn't happy about this decision, and he wanted him to fight Brook. The British fans deserved it.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens. I'm sure he'll take some time off. Focus on his
he got a $5 million payday.
And that's not including pay-per-view bouts whenever those numbers come out.
Not including pay-per-view or endorsements.
Sponsors endorsements. So
boxing is insane, man.
$5 million. And
that's more than the payout of $236. That's probably double.
Like a flex bomb.
Oh my god, that's insane.
But that's boxing for you. But yeah, I mean, those were the biggest 3 events on Saturday. Cause nothing on Friday. Obviously today's Easter. Let's quickly talk about the superstar shakeup. Obviously, we're not going to talk about every single wrestler because that's.
But wait, we're not even we haven't even talked about Terence Crawford. What happens now?
Well,
does he fight next?
You mentioned at the beginning. He's like the.
Do you think
PBC? Oh yeah, and then I forgot they interviewed at the end of the fight they interviewed
Bob Arum.
There you go.
He became a heel.
He had a heel promo.
He had a heel turn. By the way, what he did was fucking disgusting, man.
What did he do?
This is why boxing is its own worst enemies. He freaking said, he basically told boxing fans not to watch boxing. He told the fans not to watch PBC until they make the Spence Garcia.
I saw that.
Like, you don't
I saw that on Instagram.
Why? Like you'll never see Dana White go out and say, "Don't watch that Bellator fight."
Yeah, don't.
If anything, I'm pretty sure he watches them.
Yeah,
because they're former fighters.
Absolutely correct.
Like boxing is its own worst enemy. Like
it's politics. It's politics. It's like politics to a certain extent.
It's horrible. I mean, that's why boxing is where it's at now.
Yeah, obviously, like you mentioned, he had a heel promo. It was clearly a heel promo. He called out Al Heyman saying, "Hey, you know what?
He basically said, don't boycott PBC until
this fight happens."
It's like, why would you do that?
And listen,
you're telling boxing fans not to watch boxing.
Hypothetically, if this fight does happen, it's gonna take a long time. It's not like it's gonna be signed in a few months.
The things I would tell Bob Arum, man. Oh my god.
But yes, if this fight hypothetically happened, it's gonna take a long time. It's not gonna take 3-4 months. It can happen. If you tell me a timeline, I'll say in a year or 2 probably. I think it's gonna take that long. 2 years probably pushing it. Maybe a good year it'll take to form this fight. But yeah, you saying that's like good example about Dana. It's like Dana saying don't watch one championship.
When would he ever say that?
He'll never. Yeah, Dana will never say.
Granted, he does know he's in the highest position
of course, MMA, but he'll never. Yeah. But he won't say publicly, don't watch Bellator, don't watch Rizin, don't watch one championship.
What was the big... They had like a couple fights, big fights, and obviously...
Yeah.
The Rory fucking card fight with Musasi, like...
Yeah.
Like that. That's a big fight, you know? And did Dana...
Maybe privately does, but not
even
publicly.
when
Rizin?
When De La Hoya did the MMA thing, like, did he go out and say don't buy it? He was like, oh, he said how he felt about the actual fight, but he didn't say go buy it.
He watched that, right?
He did.
Because it was Thanksgiving weekend. What a crappy fight, bro.
Yeah, so I don't know, man. It's crazy.
Like you said, but I mean, it's kind of like politics, to a certain extent.
Yeah, but so I don't think that fight. I think that fight is for Crawford is for Spence it's at least 3 fights away, because I think the plan is Spence fights Porter, he beats him, and then he'll fight the winner of Pacquiao Thurman.
Okay, which you'll figure probably early spring, winter spring, right?
And so that's after that's the earliest they can make the Crawford fight. I'm not saying it'll happen then.
So like I said,
because then there's still people like Danny. Then maybe he wants to fight. The fight he didn't get to fight. Maybe he'll fight Thurman or stuff like that.
Like I said, realistically, it can take about, like I said, a year or 2, more or less. It can take about a year or 2 at least.
A year and a half.
I said, could it happen?
At least a year and a half, at least from that fight.
And we're already almost halfway through 2019.
So who the fuck knows who Crawford's gonna fight next? That's terrible.
We answered at the beginning of the breaking down his fight. Like, we don't know. Like I said, maybe Joselito Lopez. Maybe, I don't know. The last time, yeah. So I mean, we'll see what happens. Like you mentioned, I asked Danny Bums, who's another top welterweight at Top Rank. Obviously, I'll top of his head, he's a no. So if he doesn't know, then there probably isn't anyone big at 147 at Top Rank. We got to look it up, but like you mentioned, 147 is dominated by obviously PBC Showtime. They got 3 of the 4 belts, so it's hard. I mean, or how about on the flip side? Do you know how many fights Terence Crawford had left with Top Rank by any chance?
That's another thing.
That's another factor. Like, how many fights does he have left?
Oh my god.
Can he? You know, I mean, if it was his last fight, they would have said it obviously last night, but they didn't. So you figure he has a couple fights left. Maybe he'll file out the contract and then maybe jump chip. Maybe, who knows? Boxing is too many factors, too many question marks, too many pipe dreams. So it's hard to figure it out. It's hard to break it down. Like I said, we're at least a year or two if that happens.
I've been watching a really good. I don't know if you want to check it out. It was happening around the Maymac era.
2 years ago.
Watch Lou DiBella on the Ariel Helwani.
Oh, he went on?
Really good interview about boxing and MMA. I'm like, it's crazy how he's great. And I completely agree with everything he says. Completely everything he says about like when it comes to MMA and boxing.
Like comparing both of them?
We're just talking about, just having a conversation about both of them.
All right.
But like, but he said it. He goes like, boxing has been bad for boxing.
Yeah, you have mentioned that.
But it's also great because what's Lou DiBella famous for? The famous interview he had with Joe Rogan on ESPN like 10 plus years ago about MMA versus boxing.
Yeah,
it's like 20 years ago. Both of them had hair. So obviously he's always been vilified because of that. But he's just his client is Heather Hardy, so he has to work with MMA.
Of course, yeah.
But he was saying stuff that's very true. Like for example, MMA's been way kinder to women than boxing, especially pay wise, and even you know. Just viewership and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
But you should watch it if you have like an hour and 15 to kill.
Flex bomb.
For like a podcast. But yeah, so it is what it is. I don't know. Boxing is. I've been talking to my friend today about it. I'm like boxing is its own worst enemy.
Yeah. They tend to shoot.
But whatever. At the same time, it's also worked for it at the same time.
Yeah, it's up, man. It's worked out. Well, like you said, they're their own worst enemy. They shoot themselves in the foot a couple times and. Like I said, it's kind of like politics to a certain extent, you know, about these fights not happening because of, you know, certain fighters signed to other promotions and broadcast rights and all that stuff. There's so much to these boxing fights. Now I can see why it's so hard to, like, even though you hear rumors about these fights happening, it's so hard because there's the backroom deals, you know, there's purses, who gets a broadcast right, who's the A side, who's the B side, where's the venue at, co-promotion. There's a lot of factors, right? It's not like it's like UFC, obviously. It's easier. Or Bellator, or, you know. So, yeah, boxing has too many, like I said, too many factors and all that stuff. Too many check boxes to check off. So, it is what it is. Any last things on Crawford versus Khan?
Nope. I don't know when. I think that's the biggest. Well, he's probably definitely fighting in the fall. Because that's the narrative now that Floyd kind of laid out. Big superstar fight twice a year.
Yeah.
So I think the next big welterweight showdown will be whoever Matt Pacquiao fights in July, which is more likely to be
Keith Thurman. Okay, all right, fair enough.
So yeah. But great welterweight action this weekend.
Yeah, on two networks definitely. But yeah, I had mentioned earlier and obviously last week. Let's talk a little pro wrestling, WWE related. Last week was the Superstar Shakeup, which hasn't happened in a couple of years, and obviously we're not going to talk about every single wrestler who got shaked up because then it will be here forever. But let's talk about the big guys, the top dogs. And I want to focus just on four wrestlers. What do you think about AJ going to Raw?
That's crazy.
I
feel like that makes sense. Like, what else?
Yeah,
what else has who else? What else? He has done everything in SmackDown.
And like I told you, AJ has been on SmackDown since the draft, since the split. So he hasn't gone to Raw in about 3+ years.
Yeah,
3 years of the draft, I think. So I like it. I wonder what happens with him. Is he gonna go face? Who's gonna be his first opponent? You think Seth Rollins?
Yeah, I mean, right? Yeah, I don't know. I'm really interested to see. They have They have time. They have like more than a month. No, they have time for the next pay-per-view. We'll see what happens then.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a big one too.
Money in the Bank.
That's right? Money in the Bank's always a big one.
And the other question is, there's always two questions. Is who's his next opponent is, and is he gonna be heel or face? That's the other one. He was a face in his last match with Randy Orton, so we'll see what happens with that. Now the other top dog that went to the Blue Brand SmackDown is obviously, which everyone kind of knew already, because Vince McMahon has said it. SmackDown's biggest acquisition to date is obviously the big dog coming to SmackDown, which we all got trolled for a second because Vince, there's still like 5-6 minutes left.
So Elias is in SmackDown?
Yeah, I would say officially, yeah. So
that's cool.
Vince came out and there was about 7 minutes left, and then Elias came out and there was about 5 minutes left. I'm like, I don't know. I think Vince is still trolling. It could be one more act coming out, and obviously you saw Roman. He came out.
Yeah, and that makes sense. The whole Fox thing.
Yeah, Fox wants a big face, obviously, and I think it's only even if AJ gets Raw, you need someone equivalent to AJ Styles to replace, that, I guess, that superstar
shows
status.
The caliber of AJ.
Of course. He's done so much in 3.5 years.
Yeah, and it just also shows that, like, the really good business deal that to be on Fox.
Yeah.
It's like Fox Sports, they're
it's
big.
5 years, $1 billion, $200 million per year, which starts in about, October, which is like 5-6 months away. And obviously they'll be shipped to the Friday night SmackDowns, along with their own show on FS1. But yeah, I like it. I knew it. It makes sense. I will figure Roman eventually will challenge for the actual WWE Championship somewhere down the line, because the rumor is he's supposed to be feuding with Randy Orton eventually down the line. I guess possibly this Tuesday. But yeah, I guess those are the two biggest things. The other one that I like was the mid-card titles. They always get changed, obviously. Obviously, Finn Balor went to SmackDown with the Intercontinental title, and then vice versa. Samoa Joe went to Raw with the United States Championship. I like that. Good balance. I think it's fair enough to say if you look both rosters, it's pretty much balanced out.
Yeah,
it's pretty balanced.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. It's still too early to see what they're gonna. I guess have to tune in.
Yeah, these new storylines are gonna start this week. Obviously, who's gonna be someone's opponent. Obviously, we're about 5 weeks out, 4 weeks out from Money in the Bank. So there's a lot of stuff going on in WWE. Obviously, Sasha Banks. Obviously, she's in hot water. She's on sabbatical or leave, whatever you want to call it, after her attitude losing the belts. But it is what it is. When you work for a company,
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I like to look at, because like wrestling is like a lot too much of it. So I try to look at it as like, SummerSlam's the next big one. That's the way I look at it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I'll be in and out of it now, but then when the big four show up, that's when you gotta tune in.
You're absolutely correct about that.
I mean, but then again, Money in the Bank is probably the 5th biggest of the year.
Yeah, there was a plan, but it's not gonna work out. They wanted to make that a big 5, but I guess it just didn't work out because it's too close between WrestleMania and Money in the Bank. But yeah, Danny was correct about that. NXT is also getting its own takeover without a major WWE pay-per-view. I think in July or June. But yeah, I mean those are about the biggest names that got shaked up. I think, like I said, it brings balance to both brands. So we'll see what happens. And I think the last thing is, and I'll be watching it tonight. Danny Bones will be watching his GOT Game of Thrones. Tonight is the final chapter of The Shield on WWE Network at 9:30.
Goodbye. It's a live show, right?
It's a live show.
I thought it was a documentary.
It's a live show. And it's pretty obvious who they're gonna fight. They're gonna fight Baron Corbin, McIntyre, and Bobby Lashley, the top 3 heels on Raw. So it's a goodbye. So I'll be watching that. And, probably a little farewell tweet after that. So we'll see what happens. There's rumors that apparently that WWE is still offering contracts to this day.
I believe that.
Because his contract legally ends tomorrow. I'm assuming after midnight or I don't know, after Raw. I'm sure they'll have an after Raw segment tomorrow probably. After Raw goes dark, they'll probably have another segment. But yeah, that's about it, right, Danny Bums?
What's up?
That's about it.
Yeah, we'll see what happens, We'll see how the promotion goes for them building up and ramping up for Money in the Bank.
Money in the Bank, absolutely correct. I just want to give a thank out to everyone. We've have a lot of subscribers now. We're almost at 80 subscribers. Thank all of you guys for subscribing to our channel. Make sure to follow us at BumTalk_, our social media manager, and email us for anything you want at bumtalk1@gmail.com. Please like, subscribe, share the video. This video will be uploaded later tonight. And wish you guys a happy Easter, right? Have a good night. Take care.